Kamahl, welcome to the Time to Talk show.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
It's really lovely to talk to you, Kamahl. You're coming to Port Macquarie to our fabulous Glass House. Have you performed at the Glass House before?
Yes, I have performed. I can't tell you exactly when, but I have. But I have been to Port Macquarie many a time and thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I'm looking forward to being there. And I've decided to call the evening Precious Words and Soothing Songs because at the end of the day, that's what my life has been about, finding words that have given my life meaning and a path, and songs that uplift me and hopefully the listeners. And so far, it's been working for the last 50 odd years. And as you may or may not know, in 1958, something quite unexpected, something extraordinary happened. I was singing in a nightclub, and in the audience was none other than one young Rupert Murdoch.
Oh, is that
And
right?
yes, and so that evening, after I had finished singing at this nightclub, he and his then wife Pat, his first wife Pat, invited me to a party they were giving, and I realized many, many years later that was the News Limited party, and I sang there, and he was enthralled with the reception I got from his staff, and rushed over to me and thrust a 10-pound note in my hand. And that was the start of a friendship that lasts. In fact, about 3-4 weeks ago, I sent him a little note, and with it, I also included a photograph of his late sister Helen, who had passed away in 2004.
Yes.
And I was not surprised to know that he hadn't had that particular photograph, and he was deeply touched that I sent it and made some comments about his new life, and he hoped that he could make Jerry Hall as happy as she makes him. And yes, so yeah, we are still friends after nearly 60 years.
Isn't that amazing? Discovered by Rupert Murdoch, of all people. I mean, you had a golden start. You've also had a golden career, haven't you, Kamahl? I mean,
Yes.
do you feel the way I see it, that Australia sort of embraced you very strongly and passionately?
Oh, that's only one side of the coin. But at the same time, the same Australia wanted me deported in 1958-59 because I didn't keep my side of the bargain, because I didn't pass enough exams at the University of Adelaide.
Uh-huh.
And I was, loafing and singing at parties instead of studying. In fact, Rupert engaged a 6-week season for me at the Hotel Australia. And after the 6-week season, I went to say thanks to their generosity and for their caring. And Rupert said, where do you think you're going? I said, I'm going back to Adelaide, of course. He said, no, you're not. Sydney loves you. You'll make it here. You're going to stay with us. And said, so I I lived with Rupert and his first wife for 2 years.
You lived
19
with Rupert and his first wife for 2 years.
Yes, and didn't learn a damn thing. Never bought a News Limited share. I should have.
You should have indeed. Now, Rupert saw the talent in you. What was
No, no. I think it was not so much talent. I think what Rupert saw was that the people enjoyed what they did, what I did.
For you, from your perspective, where's the tipping point? Where do you really feel that you became part of our national fabric, if you will?
Well, I mean, it was a bit of a fluke. In 1969, I had a hit record with a song called "Sounds of Goodbye," and I got a number one in some of the states in Australia, and yet the state where I came from, Adelaide, the program manager decided not to play it. He played somebody else's version, and we had some weird start, and from there I had a brainwave of an idea to make an album called Peace on Earth, and made it available at the service stations, the BP service stations.
Ah, clever.
And that, when 10,000 was a gold record, we did 135,000. So that was a brainwave. So, you know, it's scheming too. Besides singing, I schemed a lot of ideas, and some of them worked and some of them didn't work. And so I took a gamble, and I did my first concert at the Opera House in '73, and against all odds, and the performance was recorded, and the Kamahl at the Opera House album. It was a huge, huge seller. I think we did about 300,000, and it was also Album of the Year in 1974. The darkest period in my life was January through June 1988, 30 years ago, when Australia was celebrating its bicentenary. The two songs I recorded, the two songs I valued most in my career, one was called My Home, the other one is What is Australia to Me? And I was waiting for them to invite me to be part of the bicentenary celebrations, and they didn't. And when I sent them the two songs, they sent it back to me. He said, one of the songs we have covered the sentiments, the other one is a parody of an American song, and it is either useless or pathetic or something. Yeah, they were pretty about it. And ironically, 6 months later, a gentleman called Sir Eric Neal invited me to sing those same two songs to Prince Edward on the eve of the Expo in 1988 in Brisbane. And Prince Edward liked it so much, he told his mum and dad, who were waiting to open the Expo.
Oh, amazing.
And the next day I met Prince Philip, and he said, I've been hearing about FBAs and FDAs. What on earth is that all about? And I said, FBA is foreign-born Australian like me, and the FDAs are fair dinkum Aussies like Sir Eric. And so that gave me enough courage to write to Sir Donald Bradman, because I had mentioned his name in one of the songs. And would you believe he wrote within the next 3 days, and that was the first of 76 or 77 letters he wrote before he passed away in 2001.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you about Hey Hey It's Saturday, where a lot of Australians came to know you. You were already, successful.
Yeah.
Hey Hey It's Saturday did give you a huge profile around the entire country, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends which way you look at it. It is something, I must confess, I never really looked forward to doing it. I did it because I believe that if you're not on television, they think you're dead. So I took a chance in doing Hey Hey, and almost all of the time they took the piss out of me. And I didn't mind it because, but I don't think they helped sell one single record. But at the same time, there were times when, for example, in 1984, I was returning to New York to do my second concert at Carnegie Hall. And the week before, I was on Hey Hey Saturday. And they didn't bother to mention about my second concert at Carnegie Hall. Instead, they hit me on my face with a white powder.
Oh, dear.
And that's the kind of attitude they had. So you can work it out.
Kamahl, can I tell you something? That as a little kid who used to sit with my legs crossed in front of the television every Saturday night with my family, usually eating pizza, we used to tune into Hey Hey It's Saturday. We liked Kamahl very much, but when I look back, there is no question that you were a joke. You were hauled out for a very specific joke, usually a racist one. Was it a one-way street you were giving to them and not getting much back?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is this, it was a double-edged sword, and if anybody thinks that Hey Hey Saturday made my career, if anything, it tarnished it. But at the same time, I took a chance, and a lot of people knew me, and also they gave life to the phrase, "Why are people so unkind?"
Where did that come from? Where did that phrase come from? Did you make that up, or were you asked
I wrote
to
it
say
in a
that?
song. I wrote it in a song in 1978. The song was called "What Would I Do Without My Music," and I sang it on the Bob Hope show, which was seen around the world. And Bob Hope was a thorough gentleman. In fact, the original line is, "Why so many people are so unkind." So there you are. So that caught on.
It caught on
So,
indeed, didn't it? But
eh,
are you still friends with some of the people who were on Hey Hey It's Saturday, the cast?
oh yeah, I mean, not when you say friends, I think maybe after the kerfuffle with Harry Connick Jr. and what happened after
Yes.
that, maybe Daryl may have his nose out of joint. But what really happened was that when they had the reunion, they invited me. So I said, what about the flight and accommodation? No, no, no. You fly, you bring yourself in, you fly yourself in, find your own accommodation, and what will I be doing? He said, oh, you'll be sitting in the green room. I said, what for? Wait to be called. I said, oh, yeah. I said, by the way, I just realized I got another engagement, so I didn't go. And then I happened to see what they were doing in the middle of the sketch. They had a cartoon of me and says, "Where's Kamahl?" And the next day, the television people said, what did I think about it? So unfortunately, I didn't tell them that I felt insulted to be invited to the show and find my own accommodation and pay my own fare. I was being insulted again.
I mean, every time you were on, there was a picture of a curry bowl.
Yeah, I don't think that was so much personal. It was their
No.
weird sense of humor. But what we are forgetting is the people who really gave me a break. Is Johnny Young and Young Talent Time and shows like that.
Yes.
They were the ones who really put me on the map. Johnny Young used to even organize a standing ovation before I started singing, and it's people like him who made me what I am, and not Hey Hey Saturday. The most precious 120 seconds I've ever spent in my life was shaking Barack Obama's hand and dining with him on November 2011.
Incredible.
And that surpasses Don Bradman, the Queen, and everybody else. And to have lived, to be able to stand in front of him and shake his hand and have a photograph of it, to me, that's worth $10 million.
Fantastic. You have led an extraordinary life. I've also been asked to ask you explicitly about the Elephant Song because it's a very, very popular song.
It's a pity that Australia never saw it that way. It was number one in Holland, Belgium, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and all of those places. In some places, it was number one for 7 weeks, and they laughed at it over here. So I laugh all the way to the bank. That is the biggest selling single I've ever had in my life.
Fantastic. Kamahl, we're really looking forward to seeing you here in Port Macquarie on February 10 at the Glass House. Tickets are on sale
And there
now.
will be precious words and soothing songs.
Precious words and soothing songs. It sounds like we need a lot more of both of those things in our world today. Kamahl, thank you for being on Time to Talk.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamahl.